What's up, y'all? I'm Kanisha.
I'm Tony.
And we're the Prothos.
It's Rebecca.
Terry.
And we are the Skinners.
This is Chris.
I'm Ariam.
And we are
the A-Team. And this is
the
Marriage Plug.
The Marriage Plug.
The Marriage Plug.
Like a fairy tale, but this ain't a movie. Yeah. The way you make me feel, you do something to me. Yeah. I want my hands locked in yours with everything.
So today we're going to talk about finances.
Right.
Everything finances.
Finances.
In a marriage, in a relationship, financing each other's dreams, ambitions, desires, even how we are stewards over our money in our marriage and our relationship, ways that it has caused strife in our marriage and how we deal with that, and just kind of what that looks like, even all the way back to the history of like what was even modeled for us growing up with finances, if it was or if it wasn't. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's get into it. Let's start with what was modeled for you growing up with your finances. What was modeled for you?
Oh my God.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, the only reason why we doing all that is because off bat, let's just say, we were not taught about finances.
For me, when I was growing up, I was adopted by my uncle. He basically handled finances, but I never knew how he did. I never knew how he did it. So like financial responsibility to me just meant go make a lot and pay your bills.
What was modeled for me was that it was a joint effort. So my mother worked, my father worked. And my dad didn't move into full-time ministry until a few years later. But it was modeled that it was a joint effort and that whatever they did, it worked because I never saw them argue about finances.
My dad actually did teach me the importance of money management. So for me, the effect that that had on me as, you know, Chris and I got together, I am the more responsible one with the finances.
For me, I had a couple of people that probably sprinkled a little financial knowledge on me. My cousin Lamar, as far as
Rest in peace, Lamar.
putting up money for things that you need more than putting up money for things that you want, and just being smart with your money overall. My mother, so I got my hustle straight from her. Mama was trying to teach me, basically, was that you can use your job to finance your dreams. And because a lot of us work jobs just because we have to work jobs and we forget about our dreams. She showed me that you basically don't always need a job to finance yourself. You could put money into yourself and your dreams and make money that way too.
Do you think that couples should have like the same account or a joint account? What do you think? How should that work?
I think it just depends on the marriage.
Great question.
We have our own separate accounts and then one joint account
And savings.
and savings
Yes.
together.
That's right. And we have it set up like that is because honestly, the truth of the matter is both of us had our own debts coming into the marriage. We had separate debts and didn't want to burden the other with crippling debt, right? And so that's how we started it out. Now, granted, the two shall become one, but we didn't want to make the two debts one.
Because, I know some people that have different accounts just because of their spouse spending habits. And, you know, but for us, having a joint account works. It works a lot.
We do. So yes,
And
we do
so,
have a joint account.
It kind of like makes us have some sort of more discipline and knowing like how we're spending our money.
If you got a joint account, obviously you can see the money coming out. Like, where did you take out $100 and for what? You know, so I get what you're saying. So in those kind of situations, yes, a joint account
credit cards
would be
are
nice.
handy though.
Yes, credit cards do come in handy if you know how to use credit cards. Ooh,
No, we really didn't.
Lord. So
when we first got together, we had to honestly experiment with our finances a lot. We both had different jobs. When we got together, we had just purchased our first home. We both had car payments. So I think at first we agreed to have like split income. Like I'll pay X amount, you pay X amount. And then after that was like a frustrating thing. So then we came up with another system. All of my money will pay bills, all the bills. And then all of your money can go over into like a savings account. And you pay like tithes. We even had an allowance where you allot a certain amount of money per week. And that's really the system that we have now. I think, you know, for the first year when we split everything, that was frustrating. We weren't disciplined. The second year, that was frustrating too, honestly, because I had to get used to not having my own money. And my pride too. I really had to work on my pride a lot, because it was like, instead of me having my own money because I put it towards one thing so we can see some growth and some increase, sometimes I had to be like, yo, can you shoot me some money? Like, and it sounded like, I mean, it really disturbed me because I'm grown. Like, I'm asking you for, you know what I'm saying, for some money for stuff. And that like really made me like eerie. So we separated our finances that way in the beginning. Absolutely.
And even though it wasn't perfect in the beginning, I think our foundation was good. And one thing I want to point out, both people don't have to be good with finances. Both people don't have to be like sticklers with money and don't want to give up a penny. It's okay to have different, you know, the significant other on opposite sides of the spectrum, because it balances out. If it's time for me to, you know, treat myself instead of just being stingy with money, Chris would be like, no, you deserve it. We've saved this much and you can buy you a pair of shoes. It's okay, Arian.
Like she said, both people don't have to be good, but there has to be there eventually, once things get regulated, you're going to have a balance between how things are distributed. You really want to play with it to see what works the best.
So what do you think it looks like to support your spouse?
I got dreams. Terry got dreams.
Supporting your spouse's goals and dreams.
What if they want to like stop working and just go to school full time, or, you know, what would that look like?
I don't know. I think you still have to have a strategic plan.
I think the first dream that we embarked upon in our marriage, where we both really had to discuss finances, is me going back to get my master's degree. So I do have a Master's of Science degree in educational leadership, like I'm in education. And so in undergrad, I had a full track scholarship. So I didn't have any student debt. But going to get my master's, I'm going to incur some doggone debt.
And if you know anything about a Master of Social Work program, you know that there is a internship at the end of the last year, and it's about 20 hours a week that you have to intern. So I decided to quit my full-time job to be able to obtain my master's degree. So I received a Master of Social Work.
My dream was to one day own a barbershop, and I'm working on that now. Right now I'm in barber school. Yeah, it's gonna get done, and it's gonna be a joint effort.
How do you do that? You know, working 40 hours a week and interning for at least 20. And at the time we had a child. That was difficult. So we had to sit down and talk about it. We agreed that yes, we will. We mapped out our finances. Yes, we will. I will quit this full-time job.
If you guys have ever had 2 household income, you know that can be a drastic change from 2 to 1.
Yeah.
Something happened that had nothing to do with me, but I just was not getting paid on the basis that I thought I would be getting paid. So long story, but that was an issue. And, you know, we're talking about, you know, supporting your spouse. Like one spouse may want to be in school full time, right? Yeah. So they can't work full time. And that means the other, you know, partner has to pick up the slack. But that, you know, actually caused a pretty big strain in our relationship.
Chris's job wouldn't transfer like he thought it would. So instead of starting over from a starter salary, he decided to focus on real estate at that moment.
It wasn't fair because I felt like I was placing blame on Tony for my decision. And that was not right. And, you know, if you know me, you know, I talk about mental health all the time. That strain, that stress was also having an effect on my mental health. So I was portraying that onto Tony as if it was his fault. Mm-hmm. So now we're dealing with all these financial issues, mental health issues.
Not only did, you know, I have to be patient with his process in school, I had to understand that this was temporary. So it may have been frustrating for me, especially when we first moved here, going from all of that money to just, you know, spend when we want to now we actually have to budget again.
Yeah.
So it was a bit tension for me. In Florida, the cost of living is a little bit higher too. So all of those different factors kind of got to me a little bit. And I wouldn't say it stressed me, but it definitely was tension. And I pushed Chris a lot, like a little driver, like, hey, when you gonna be done with this real estate?
Yeah, a child, so he's still working, granted, but I mean, it was just so bad.
It was taking a huge toll.
It was
on us.
bad.
Because her energy was passing on to me and also passing on to our daughter. Yeah. So it was really stressful, but I was still trying to stay as positive as I possibly could for the household, because if both of us are clashing like that, that's a huge problem. And especially when you have a child in the house and that child is seeing how you guys react to different circumstances or different things that's going on. So, and then when they get older, they're going to act that same way, because they think that's the right way.
Definitely frustrating to not be in the familiar position, in a position that I'm used to being in.
So we was able to really talk things out, I figured.
We did. I went to therapy.
And the therapy helped too, even though I wasn't going at the time, but I seen how much of a toll it was taking on her. But then at the same time, this is her goal, this is her dream to get her master's. And so it was just like, we had to take care of it.
Even though I didn't have a job, even though I chose not to, pursue my previous job when we came here, so I can get into real estate, there was a safety net that we had, and I think that's very important, because a lot of people may want to take a risk or start your own business and so forth and so on. That's perfectly fine. Yet you want to make sure there's some security. And as a man, I still feel like a provider, even though right now she makes more money than I do, and she may forever make more money than I do. I don't care. It's our money. There's still precautions that you have to take, and that I suggest you take. And so even though she made money, I had enough money secured for us for at least bare minimum a full year. Yeah. So even if she lost her job and I lost mine, we still would be in a good position to financially support ourselves. And I think that's one of the things that makes it, for me, I get peace. Even though, again, this is not a familiar position, I have peace knowing that I secured us in a way that puts us in a good position. So even if I had to go back and find another job, I would do it if I needed to. Yet, we understand that the long term, the vision for what we want to do is much more beneficial for us to handle things this way.
He also had the money saved up, not just to last us for future bills, but just to pay off other bills to kind of shrink our household, expenses. So that's another thing that we think about constantly. How can we lower our household expenses? Because that just allows you to have more freedom with your money. That way you're not living, from check to check. Or if you do want to go on a vacation or buy your family something nice, your parents something nice, your spouse something nice, you have it. And it's not always a thing where you're nervous and money now becomes something that controls you.
Finances are an area that can really destroy your marriage, or it can be a place where you guys come and find some common ground and make have some honest conversations in love. He has loved me through some financial disappointments on my end that I put us in. And I appreciate that for him. Thank you, babe. But truthfully, finances is not worth your marriage or your love.
Nope.
Finances can definitely be a strain, and that is one thing too that we want to talk about. We're talking about like our daughter. We want her to have financial literacy out the gate. Like once she graduates from high school, and even before that, we want her to be aware of what money is, what credit is, how it works, how to invest, how to build wealth. I think a lot of people want to be like rich and famous. We really don't want none of that. We're creating a YouTube page, but we don't care about people knowing us. We want to have wealth that we are passing down to generations. And how do you do that? So like we did, getting with a financial advisor, it may not always go the way you wanted to the first time. Like y'all may be clashing, personalities don't work, what have you. Find somebody that really cares about you personally.
So I think we gave some good little jewels in our perspective, and we just want you guys to just understand everybody's finances is different and we understand them differently.
So that's us, y'all. We hope that you enjoyed this marriage plug conversation about finances. Make some wise decisions.
Goals, write them down, make it plain, do what you got to do.
Share, subscribe, like, comment, give us your input on what you do with your significant other with finances.
All right, y'all. TMP. Hold it down.
All right, y'all.
I learned that love, it ain't fair, so I ain't offering equality, just support when you need me there. With that said, that's that. I only got 4 words. I got your back.